get up, get up, get up.
What is up, Mets fans? Welcome back to episode 109 of the Mets'd podcast, the official podcast of the New York Mets. The boys are buzzing. This was a huge series going up against the Atlanta Braves. We're throwing high fives around because as much as the sky was falling just a few days ago, according to some Mets fans, you probably feel like you're a little bit on cloud nine right now because the Mets just took a series from the Atlanta Braves in Atlanta, 2-1, without Starling Marte, without Jeff McNeil, without Jacob deGrom, without James McCann, without Tyler McGill, without Trevor May. Is there anybody else I'm forgetting, James?
Without Joey Lucchesi.
Without John Curtis.
Without John Curtis, without Sean Reed-Foley.
Lots of guys missing, and the Mets were still able to go down to that city of Atlanta and beat the Atlanta Braves. It's interesting what happens when they play a team that's above 500.
No, it's shocking. The last two times the Braves have played a team that were good, the Mets and the Dodgers, they lost both series.
Yep. So, I mean, I feel like the conversation of the Mets not being good and the Braves being really good, like, I think everyone is probably feeling a little more calm now. The Mets showed this series that they are a good ball club, and of course, we're going to talk about that in today's episode.
We've known the Mets were a good ball club. There was never a doubt whether the Mets were a good ball club.
Well, certainly not with us.
No, the Mets had holes, we knew that, but it's not like the Mets were ever considered a bad team. The Mets have the fourth best record in Major League Baseball right now.
But they're a bad team.
Terrible.
The season's over.
It's over. They collapsed.
They collapsed. We even saw Tomas Nido after the game talk about that the Mets players inside the clubhouse are a little tongue-in-cheek about after they had the Marlins series that everybody outside of the Mets clubhouse was saying the series over. But inside, they were like, yeah, like, we're a good baseball team.
It's hysterical. I mean, also, we haven't even introed yet, but we have to stop probably admonishing these types of comments from the fans.
Probably. Listen, this is what we do. We give you entertainment here on the Mets'd podcast. Hopefully, you've been enjoying what you've been seeing thus far since we've come on with the New York Mets to become the official podcast. If you have, make sure you're following us on all our social media at Mets'd. That's on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. If you're looking for the YouTube version of what you're listening to, head on over to the New York Mets YouTube channel. You'll be able to find it there. If you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Odyssey, wherever you find your podcast, you will be able to find us. So download the episode, subscribe to the feed, drop us a rating, drop us a review. It does help us out a ton. I don't have to bring you in because we've been speaking already, but
a lot. Such a good series. I feel so good.
Awesome. I told you I want to pop off, so I'm going to pop off a little bit here.
We need a guided pop off because we all deserve this. This was a day game too, recording this Wednesday evening. Now they're usually their late time that we like to do a lot of these episodes, but have a nice night. Tomorrow the Mets don't play the Cubs or today when you guys are listening to this on Thursday, they only play the Cubs till like 7 o'clock. 3 day games after that. Just enjoy this series win for a little while here, but then just remember, you have 12 more games against this team, including a 5-game series in the first week of August. So enjoy the series.
No Salicatas here.
Bask, you have 24 hours to bask since we're recording right now. So you guys don't know it yet, but you have until 6 o'clock on Thursday to bask. So I hope you got this episode in before 6 o'clock on Thursday because the basking ends at 6:01 on Thursday night.
No doubt. But that being said, let's bask a little bit because how nice is it?
I just remembered today's my parents' anniversary. I did not tell them anything.
James, you gotta say happy anniversary.
July 13th.
Here, give them a little shout out on the episode.
Now they're gonna listen to this and hear that. Shout out, Mom and Dad. Happy anniversary. Well, wonderful. I can't wait to come home this week and celebrate with you.
I'll be home too, going to see the parents. Not for an anniversary, simply because I have to for medical reasons.
I can't believe I just remembered that on the podcast. That's so funny.
That's good. We've had a lot of live reactions. Speaking of which, Robinson Cano in this series obviously made an appearance for the Atlanta Braves in 2 games. And funny enough, the Braves lost both of those games that Robinson Cano appeared in. And
really funny.
I know we technically hit a couple balls hard, but it's got to be refreshing at least to know that watching Robinson Cano play these last few days, he's still not very good. He's still old. He still can't hit the ball in the air for any sort of authority. He hit the ball hard a couple times on the ground.
Robinson Cano on the game on Monday. I guess we'll start easing into the Monday game here because it was a little uncomfortable seeing him on the field and seeing him come up a few times. He got a hit in his first at-bat with the Braves against the Mets. 112 miles an hour, the second hardest hit ball in the entire game, besides Ozuna, who's double later in this game, was 112.1 miles an hour off the bat.
Well, what's funny about that at-bat, too, is that we were watching the game, me and you. We were hanging out with a couple friends. And as soon as he got that hit, it flipped over to the top of the order with Ronald Acuna. We go, oh, this is a guaranteed home run. Because, of course, Robinson Cano extends the inning on what was a very tough play for Luis Guillorme to make, who's been so sure-handed this year. Ball was smoked.
112. Also,
112.
The strangest thing about that, it's going to be nonsense here because we're so happy about this series. But it's strange that the Mets weren't shifting Robinson Cano. I feel like just he's a guy who pulls it so frequently, and he is so slow that you can kind of put your infield defenders in an advantageous way that like you can get any ground ball he's ever going to hit.
You know how like the Rays play like a 5 or a 4-man outfield sometimes on like Joey Gallo?
Blue Jays do a good amount too.
I feel like you could do a 5-man infield against Robinson Cano. Like, hit the ball to the outfield. I'd love to see you try. We'll put in the gaps, and that's about it.
He had a second hit in this game. Hilariously, Robinson Cano 2 hits in this game, and one just like scooted up the middle where it's like I thought someone would be there.
Someone should have been there. Yeah, I don't know why they weren't shifting against Robinson Cano. Luckily, it didn't matter.
Also, we're not talking about Robinson Cano anymore this episode.
Yeah, that's it. That's the last mention of Robinson Cano. Good riddance.
Until August, we play him again. Hopefully, he's still on this roster because he's not very good.
Yeah,
but
Robinson Cano playing is a good thing for us.
Great thing. He also there was a double play where he did a glove flip, and we ended up getting a run. It was almost a really good play, but we won a challenge after that. Or should call whatever happened. Guillorme ended up being safe first base, scored the run, but this is all nonsense. The only really thing that matters from game one that we have to talk about is Max Scherzer.
So good.
This is the whole fucking reason you signed Max Scherzer to be on this team. This is why you give Max Scherzer the big bucks. So you want him to start game one of a series against your bitter rival, where first place in your division's on the line, and he shoves.
Dude was unbelievable from the first pitch of the game. It is so refreshing to watch him pitch because, yes, Bassitt, Carrasco, Taiwan, all these guys have been great for us all year long.
Amazing.
But watching a guy like Max Scherzer is just so different. We've seen it with DeGrom in the past in the Mets. Now we have Scherzer in this rotation, and he commands the ball differently. The way you feel watching him is different. He is simply one of the best pitchers that we have seen in our lifetime, without a doubt. And it's so sick that he now gets to pitch for the Mets.
Other domination on Monday. 7 innings pitched, 9 strikeouts, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk. It's just, what are you going to do? Like, this is it. The slider and the fastball were both completely nasty. He broke out a couple changeups when he needed to, more like that once he got 2 or 3 times around the order. Cutter also. Yeah. Cutter made an appearance. He's been sitting around 10% usage rate in that Cutter for most of this season. He threw it 9 times. This is bizarre. Threw the Cutter 9 times. Braves hitters swung at all 9 of them.
Which is interesting.
Interesting, right?
I wonder why that would be.
5 whiffs.
Is there any reason you could think why they would swing at the Cutter more than... Is it just like...
It looks like the slider.
Looks like the slider and is fast like the fastball, maybe? I don't know.
Take a shot.
Just maybe, I guess it fools them, maybe? I don't even know. I can't even figure it out.
All that matters is good night, Atlanta.
Good night, Atlanta. Really, really good job by Max Scherzer. Really good job by the team in general, because at times this game was close. At times this game got a little dicey, too. I mean, Austin Riley hit that home run in the 7th inning, and then they got the Ozuna double, and it was like, hold on a second.
And at that point, before the Riley home run in the 7th, it was 2-0 Mets. After a little rally in the third inning. I think that was the play we're talking about with the Guillorme field. Technically became a fielder's choice because beat that double play. Pete had a double down the line as well. And then Austin Riley hit that home run to make the game 2-1 in the 7th. And you also kind of felt a little bit of pressure on Max Scherzer as this game was moving along. Without the Mets really scoring many runs on Max Fried, despite having him on the ropes, despite not really swinging, missing anything, having base runners every single inning, running that pitch count up, where you didn't have enough runs, you felt nervous, and you also knew that Edwin Diaz had pitched consecutive days, and that Adam Ottavino had pitched, I believe at this point it was 2 out of 3 days. So you didn't really know who was available and who was not available at the end of this game. And Scherzer's pitch count was so low that you're like, maybe he can just do this himself.
Which would have been sick.
Absolutely. The 7th inning kind of put that to bed when Austin Riley hit a tank because he's one of the better hitters in baseball. Also, quick diatribe here. I don't like the fact that while he's having a good season, William Contreras is an all-star.
Over Austin Riley.
On the same team, Austin Riley has twice as many at-bats. He has 20 home runs, like 25 doubles. He's hitting the piss out of the ball. Like, it's ridiculous. This guy's 150 plate appearances. He's going to be the starting DH.
Well, the way that they do the All-Star game is a little stupid in that the DH is limited to guys who play DH. That's their main position, which William Contreras debatably...
not even.
He's like pretty much a DH or catcher.
Yeah.
So, like, why can't Austin Riley fill in and play DH? There's a lot of guys that got snubbed from the All-Star team, but he's probably the biggest one right now, and it's stupid because, like, Arenado and Machado are better. I think probably more deserving than Austin Riley, but...
100%.
Again, this is the only time I think we'll ever be positive about the Braves here and be happy and stuff, but it is worth noting that Austin Riley is one of the best third basemen in the league.
Absolutely. And again, Contreras is 150 plate appearances. Francisco Lindor is over 65 RBIs, like 18 home runs. He's not going to the All-Star game. Brandon Drury has almost a 140 WRC plus, an incredible breakout year from a guy who's been hanging around for a while.
I mean, even Brandon Nimmo. Like, there's just, like, there are players that 100% deserve it more, and it's weird that he gets in because of the weird DH caveat.
I know it is dumb, but I was thinking about that when going over notes for this series. It's just, while he is a good player and he's having a good year, and it's cool that he's going to be in the All-Star team with his brother. That's sick. But, like, I can't imagine him being an All-Star.
I mean, you know who could have taken that spot? known cleanup hitter, known power hitter, Luis Guillorme, with a massive insurance home run late in this game. And the bat flip. The bat flip was unbelievable. It was sneaky nice.
Got a massive reaction from Max Scherzer. Pounded on the rail. Lindor pushed him in the back. He fist bumped through the dugout.
Which Lindor's got to be like one of the bravest humans on earth. I would never, even if Max Scherzer's excited, I would just let him be excited by himself. There's no way I'm pushing Max Scherzer.
This also hilarious tidbit we got from the broadcast. Luis Guillorme's 4th home run of his entire career. 2nd off of Darren O'Day.
Which is so funny.
And both this season.
Because Darren O'Day is such a weird pitcher that so many guys have trouble with, but it seems like Luis Guillorme is like, oh, just going to float 85 to me, I'll smack it.
Especially being able to like lift the ball and be able to track Darren O'Day's fastball. I guess we were talking about swing path stuff a few months ago. Maybe Guillorme always being like a slap hitter, O'Day throwing submarine. It kind of just reverses swing path. It's like a total 180. So now it's just like it becomes an uppercut. And Guillorme took that high pitch and just sent it into the Atlanta sky. And that was incredibly important insurance run, beating up by 2 runs on the Braves rather than 1 heading into the last few innings.
Now, it did get a little bit dicey, though, in the 8th. Because
dicey-ish.
The Mets played like a weird defensive alignment again.
There was a lot of just weird defensive alignments in this game. There was a situation where Ottavino was on the mound and Ronald Acuna smoked the ball down the line, and just no one was there. Usually, and we talked about this a little bit last year in the show as well, like generally you see at the end of games, you just naturally guard the line. I know defensive analytics are incredibly more advanced than they ever have been in the history of baseball, so maybe there are situations where your numbers tell you no. But it just seems like you want to stop doubles when you want to keep runs off the board. And I believe there was nobody on at this point either. And we saw the Braves actually do that well on Tuesday night. I don't remember who hit it, but remember Olsen. Actually, it was
Dom.
Lindor. No, Lindor.
And Dom, I think, smoked one down the line too.
Olsen just knocked balls down that would have been doubles, and you wound up limiting damage. Because also, there was no damage that ended up happening. The Braves were stuck at 1 run. Other side of this game, more weird defensive alignment stuff.
Super
weird kind of little nuanced stuff the Mets'd podcast is going to bring you guys. The Braves being down 2 runs with a man on third and less than 2 outs in the top of the 9th inning decided to keep their infield back against Pete Alonso. And shockingly, it actually ended up kind of saving them from a big inning because he smoked the ball at third base, and Austin Riley was able to make 2 steps over to his left, cut the ball off, get the out at first, the run scored, extend this Mets lead to 4-1, where they would eventually win it. But it was a little strange to me that Brian Snitker didn't bring his infield in.
Yeah, the defensive alignment in this game, just start to finish, was a little bit questionable at times by both sides. I mean, luckily for us with the Mets.
Did you hear Gary's take on why Snitker did that?
No.
He kind of he didn't care about the Mets score. This is Gary's take, not that it was substantiated in any way.
Yeah.
He wanted to stop a big inning and basically give the Mets 1 run in a 2-run game because he wanted to, theoretically, this is Gary's take, ensure that Edwin Diaz would come in this game because he was already warming up at this point. And you figure if you make sure that Edwin Diaz pitches the first game of this series, his 3rd day in a row, it's a lock he's not pitching the rest of the series.
That's like some big brain stuff that like you wouldn't get from the Tampa Bay Rays. That's old man big brain stuff.
Yeah, old school big brain.
That's like Buck Showalter. I would expect to do something like that.
It's fun watching Snitker and Rick Cran. It's like just hang out in this dugout. Ron Washington. Yeah, it's a fun old man dugout.
They are old men that get it. I mean, last year that's why the Braves ended up having this huge swing the second half of the year was because they just started shifting, taking a little bit of analytics, and they were like, "Oh, we're really good now." All of a sudden, our pitchers are great.
Yeah.
This game included, it was it was a close one, and luckily for us, we have Edwin who comes in the 9th and is just unhittable. 11 pitches, K's the side. I think his 3 appearances, including that night, it was like 11 pitches. 7 pitches and
8 or 9,
whatever.
Every single outing was 11 pitches or less. Also, now I kind of also remember why I was a little bit annoyed at William Contreras today.
Why?
He walks up to Narcos.
Oh, yes, he does.
And that kind of got me going the wrong direction on him. Even though I do like him as a player, and I'm very happy he's been all-star with his brother, but. You can't. That's not your song.
It's Edwin Diaz's song.
100%.
You know any other closers that come out to Enter Sandman? Of course not.
No, yes, I do.
Who?
It was a big thing. You don't remember when this happened?
Who came out to it?
Billy Wagner.
Oh.
Remember that was a whole big thing? New York, the guys were writing about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, we were 10.
Nice try, though.
We were 10. So you make fun of me for saying I saw bits of the 2000 World Series, and you can remember writers in 2005 and 6 talking about Billy Wagner's outro music?
I'm a big baseball nerd. I was grabbing my dad's Daily News when I was a child.
Reading the Post?
Yeah, the Daily News. I have a little bit of class.
I think I've read a total of like 4 newspapers in my life.
Yeah. Funny though, back to this game. We were all already off the rails. Edwin Diaz had as many whiffs in this inning as Max Fried has entire start. Domination. Struck out the side on 11 pitches. Like this is, and afterwards told the Braves, Zip your lips.
Quiet.
Zip your lips.
Quiet. I'm Edwin Diaz. I'm sick. You can't touch me. The slider he threw to Matt Olson was unfair.
Yeah, it was sending a chill down my spine. Also, before we wrap this game up, move on to game 2. Just playing the Braves reminded me of this. We didn't talk about Ender Inciarte making a great play on Saturday Keith Hernandez game. We totally forgot.
We botched it.
Botch.
The original, the original animal that we have saved a nickname for many of players around the league. Ender Inciarte. He was there. He was there in Atlanta. I don't think he played at all.
I don't believe he did, but just being in this park reminded me about Ender Inciarte and that he made that good catch. We didn't mention, I wanted to give him a shine.
Also, depth outfielders, Jankowski back.
Jankowski back. Jankowski makes things happen. The Mets play really well when he's in the lineup.
What's their record was really good.
Inciarte probably got with Jankowski being active.
No, he was still there because
he was?
Yeah, they had at least for game 1. I don't remember the rest of the series. Not sure. He didn't play.
Paternity list, McNeil. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So he was still hanging around.
Time for game 2.
Game 2. David Peterson going up against Spencer Strider, who we got a first up and close look at. Spencer Strider
I told you guys.
Is nasty. He's filthy. The numbers don't lie. The guy has electric stuff. And even Keith found himself being like, oh wow. He was enamored with the command that Spencer Strider had on his fastball. He's like, he's not just throwing that thing. He knows where it's going. And we saw that.
And Strider's a guy who was not really the biggest prospect. He's a smaller guy, and he reinvented himself at Clemson in their pitching laboratory, kind of becoming obsessed with getting that really good high backspin fastball that gives the rising action with his incredible velocity. And since he became a starter, I think he leads all of baseball in strikeout rate.
Yeah, no, he's been absolutely disgusting.
Incredible. And we actually got a lead off him in this game.
Yeah, we did. And credit to David Peterson, too. Had another really, really good start against the Atlanta Braves lineup, who he has struggled against in the past, especially in Atlanta. He's had horrendous numbers pitching in Atlanta. And the dude had a really, really nice outing again.
I want to talk about the bad from the Peterson start before the good. So I want to get the bad out of the way and then leave people with the good. Because we did have the 1-0 lead on Lindor's triple, which Ronald Acuna still seems to be missing a step since the ACL. Took a beeline to a ball in the gap and just went past him. Which he gets a play we've seen Ronald Acuna make, but not anymore. And Peterson came out for the 6th, and that would have been his 3rd time around this order. And this is something that we've talked about a lot in the show. I've talked about a few times, especially with Peterson. Now he's become mostly a 2-pitch pitcher. And then you look at this Atlanta lineup, and there's not a much better top 3 in all of baseball.
There's not really any holes in this lineup to begin with.
No, but then once you get to the top and you see Acuna, Swanson, the way he's playing right now, and Olsen, this is kind of similar to the Dodgers start with Peterson, where you see Betts, Freeman, Turner. Like, 3rd time around the order, sometimes you want to give the guy a shot, but maybe against this one, it's a little bit dicey. And he got Acuna. Then Swanson came up, and he was walked on a call that was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was a strike.
2 calls are pretty bad, I believe.
Strikes on both of them.
Yeah. But the umpire in this game, I don't remember who it was. I think it was actually Andy Fletcher.
That was the name of an umpire in this series. That was the name of an
umpire. I think Welke or Gelke or one of them was Wednesday. But now you have a man on first. Matt Olson's up. A little bit of a tenuous at bat. He had a very long foul ball. And he had him with 2 strikes, though. And you could tell Olsen was looking slider. And Peterson just dotted the fastball low and outside. That was like a clean 1.5 inches off. But the idea was great.
Yeah.
And he had them frozen. These were just nothing. There was no way he was swinging at that pitch. Didn't wind up doing it. And then for some reason, he got a little bit addicted to that fastball. I don't know why. I feel like a guy like Olsen, who's struggled habitually his entire career with lefties.
Yeah.
Usually that'd be the breaking ball would be the big reason for that. He just got a hold of a fastball and hit one out.
Yeah, when Peterson's slider is so good, too. It's not like it's an okay slider.
It's like literally, statistically right now, it's one of the best sliders in all of baseball.
Which is like a crazy sentence to say out loud, knowing where David Peterson has come from. But yeah, the slider is filthy. Didn't love the pitch calling there. Didn't love the selection of pitches. Because, again, Peterson still shakes and decides what he wants to throw. But, man, when you're going up against one of the best hitters in the game who's also left-handed, you got to go with your best. And his fastball isn't his best pitch.
And it's also a weird situation where after the walk to Swanson, I think most situations and would have called for your starting pitcher to get taken out at that point.
Yeah.
With the go-ahead run at the plate and your 3rd time around the order, especially a guy with only 2 pitches, a little bit more of a younger, learning how to pitch kind of starter. But the fact that Peterson's a lefty, Olsen's a lefty, Olsen struggles against lefties, and the Mets bullpen only has 1 lefty in the pen right now, you really want to take this at bat and get this guy out. And you remember, almost this exact same thing happened in May when the Mets played the doubleheader against Atlanta, and we were there sitting with the 7 line. Where Peterson, coming 3rd time around the order, I famously told Mark, I'm going to the bathroom this inning. I was having stomach issues. It's 3rd time around the order. I know for a fact the Braves are going to score.
Yeah.
And it happened. The exact same thing happened where he had a tough at-bat against Olsen and it wound up in a home run. I believe that was a 3-run home run rather than 2-run home run.
Yeah.
So you've seen this happen before. So maybe we'll think about this next time Peterson faces the Braves. And it's also interesting that Olsen, including Wednesday, has 3 home runs against the Mets this year. all 3 against starting pitchers, third time around the order.
That is an interesting fact. It just seems like he's a good hitter.
He's a smart ball player. He figures it out. But I don't want this to dilute David Peterson's shine.
No.
Because he was fantastic in the start again. Final line, 5 1/3 innings pitched, 9 strikeouts.
Ooh.
Like, who the hell is this guy?
This guy's a beast.
2 hits, 3 walks, just 2 earned runs in that home run. 44% slider usage rate in this game. Most thrown pitch of the night. He's been doing that a couple times, more and more. Last few times out, it's a real weapon. 50% whiffs on that pitch. Craziest stat though, no sliders were put in play.
Wow.
How crazy.
I mean, I saw the ones, I was watching the game, and the ones he was throwing, Acuna looked like he'd never swung a bat before swinging at these sliders.
And this is a right-handed heavy lineup. There are very few lefties in the lineup at all besides Olsen.
Right-handed heavy lineup that rakes, too.
In humid Atlanta, where the ball was kind of flying all series. Never people made contact and went out of the yard. So the fact that they didn't touch his slider, this pitch has come such a long way. He is such a weapon for us right now, and I really don't know where this team would be without David Peterson.
I like to think right now he's one of the better kept secrets in baseball, because if you ask, I think the average, honestly, even Mets fans sometimes, and I'm not talking about you guys who are listening to us. You guys are smart. You're listening to a Mets podcast.
You guys are smart. You're good looking. You're talented, successful. You can do anything.
Yeah,
you listen to this podcast.
Yeah, if you listen to this podcast, your IQ points automatically go higher.
Anything. Your vigor, your charisma.
But I would even go out to say even the average Mets fan doesn't, I don't think, truly understand how good David Peterson is. I've been talking to friends in baseball mentioning about David Peterson, and they're like, oh, him? What's he got? I'm like, what has he got? He's got one of the best pitchers in the league right now.
I kind of do want to take a step back, though, and really outline how good he's been so far, especially since June 1st. I feel like that's kind of where ties started shifting for Peterson.
Definitely.
Started throwing a lot more sliders. That's where he really felt like he hit his stride. 22.4 strikeout minus walk rate since June 1st. This is a metric I told you guys about last episode. You take your strikeout rate minus your walk rate. It's incredibly predictive and incredibly effective in finding out which pitchers are good and which pitchers are due for more success.
Yeah.
That 22.4% number is 10th in all of baseball.
That's sick.
All of baseball since June 1st. All of baseball. That is ahead of Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Shane Bieber. Those guys are 11, 12, 13.
Those guys are pretty good.
Really good. 2 former Cy Young winners there, and Aaron Nola, who's a consummate professional. That is with, though, a 10% walk rate. And if there's one thing you can say about Peterson during this hot streak, is that the command is still not, great. That's kind of what's driving my take, that he would just be, the best reliever in baseball if we needed to do that at the end of the year. But he's still a very good starter, so we're going to keep this going right now. 7th best strikeout rate in baseball since June 1st for David Peterson. 7th best! All of baseball. Top 7. Right ahead of him is Corbin Burns. Right after him is Carlos Rodon.
Yeah, Carlos Rodon is sick, too.
That's the sandwich. Corbin Burns, David Peterson, Carlos Rodon.
And I feel like nobody really... No. Me and you both have been talking about it and he's been doing well, but I didn't know he was doing this well.
It's one of the best pitchers in baseball over the last 6 weeks.
He's been...
Literally.
2 of the best young pitchers in the game right now were pitching in this game.
And it was kind of funny because heading into the series, I don't remember if it was Howie or if it was Gary or if it was Wayne, but one of them previewing, I think, Monday's game, or maybe even Sunday. I don't remember what I was listening to, but they were like, oh, fun series here. Tuesday, David Peterson, Spencer Strider, 2 very young but very different pitchers, and Wednesday, Chris Bassitt, Charlie Morton, 2 old, very similar pitchers. And I was like, that's not true at all. Peterson and Strider are hilariously similar.
Fastball and sliders.
Fastballs and sliders with devastating sliders. Strider, of course, has different fastball than Peterson, but I think Peterson's a very different slider. And then we're going to move here into, actually, no, we're not going to move into that yet. But then you have Morton, Bass, just 2 old guys, but the stuff's incredibly different.
Yeah. No, I mean, Peterson's looked really, really solid. Of course, the Mets don't end up winning this game.
No, yeah, Strider's incredible.
Strider's really good. The Braves' offense came alive a little bit. I mean, that's going to happen. They are still a very good team, as we know. They're competing with us for the National League East crown.
Yeah, got into the BC team bullpen here, but you're not going to sweep the Braves probably.
It would have been great.
I mean, it would have been sick.
Can you imagine what our intro would have sounded like if we swept the Braves? We've
been
gone more off topic than we have recently in a while, just because the Mets won a series in Atlanta.
I do want to take us more off topic, though, for a second, because Keith Hernandez had one of the greatest Keith Hernandez lines I think I've ever heard in this game, too.
He's full of them.
I don't remember who he was talking about, if it was Cano. It might have been Cano. It might have been Lindor. But he was talking about just hitting in general and how everything's got to be in line if you want to be a good hitter. And he was talking specifically about breakfast. And he was saying you have to make sure that you're not having an O for breakfast. You got to have hits in that breakfast.
I like that. Hits. You got to have hits in your breakfast.
So I wanted to ask you, what does breakfast look like for you? Because I'm sure your life is significantly different than mine for sure, and every single listener that we have on this show.
Probably 99% of the people listening.
On Earth.
Yeah. So the average day for me is I wake up around, I get about to bed at around 11:30. take a shower, get ready, brush my teeth.
Listeners hate you. Get ready for what?
Get ready to sit, play some video games, watch a little baseball, do some box score reading, check fantasy baseball lineups, record a YouTube video if I'm feeling up for it on the day, tweet from the Mets'd podcast. But yeah, my day starts a little bit later than most, so my breakfast would basically be lunch for everybody else, which would be around 12:30, 1 o'clock. Have a nice sandwich, some good cold cuts, a nice Genoa salami. I'm a big salami guy, and if we're not eating sandwiches, good tacos down the street. I mean, there's some great food out here in Queens. So, yeah, my breakfast, it's definitely got some hits in it. It's just, I'm probably more, you ready for this?
Yeah.
I'm more on a Major League Baseball player schedule right now. We're with the Mets now.
That's
I'm big league. So just like them, my day doesn't really start until like 2, 3 o'clock.
Yeah, of course. You gotta get ready for the night.
You gotta get ready for the night
when you're on.
When the real work begins.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's ridiculous. I used to be on the Mark grind too, because my former remote job, which I will not disclose, used to be pretty lackadaisical. I used to be able to also wake up, 10-ish, have the breakfast lunch combination. I've been trying to do early mornings now. I wake up at 7:30, 8.
I've had nights in the past month where I've gone to bed at 7:30.
I've had nights in the past year where I've gone to bed at 7:30.
Yeah, but not
weekends.
Not during the week.
Not anymore.
Not on Tuesday.
Those are the good old days. Just we're closing down rock and roll until 4 a.m. with my YouTube friends on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
I miss those days. But now it's kind of I have to find a way to eat something early. And it's kind of hard to, because I've never been a morning guy. I'm not bred to eat early.
I mean, I feel like the go-to for a New Yorker, and if you're not a New Yorker, when you come to New York, you got to get bacon, egg, and cheese on a bagel. You have to.
100%, but I've had this goddamn gluten intolerance that's just ravaged my diet in the last 6 months. I've had to totally relearn breakfast, especially.
Yeah, what would you get then? What can you put it on?
I can't go to the bodegas anymore. I have to bring a gluten-free roll, which I don't want to do that at all. That used to be the move. I used to just walk to the deli, get a $3 bacon, egg, and cheese. Or if I was, feeling fancy, I would do my own avocado toast. Nice piece of toast, spread an avocado, little extra virgin olive oil,
salt, pepper,
everything seasoning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a little fancy boy stuff.
Can't do the poppy seeds for me.
Not
great for the
the
digestive
Crohn's.
tract.
Yeah, the stomach boys over here. But now what I've done, I'm trying to be real creative. It's always some fruit.
Yeah.
Like banana strawberry smoothie with some oats in there, start the day. I've eaten a lot more oatmeal since I've gone gluten-free.
Oatmeal's so hit or miss for me. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes I'm I don't want to even be close to it.
I've been doing some weird oatmeal stuff where I've found it. One of my friends told me about it, and I did some research about it to see that other people actually do it, so she's not a total nut. Savory oatmeal.
Interesting.
I do oatmeal. I make the oatmeal totally normal. Then I throw it in the pan with some olive oil and some salt and pepper. Get some veggies in there, some onion. It's usually some any vegetable I have laying around, a broccoli or something, and asparagus maybe if I'm feeling frisky, and then do a sunny side egg on top. Let the yolk break with a little bit of sriracha. That's been a weird late breakfast for me recently. That's been my high calorie breakfast.
I don't think you could sell me on a savory oatmeal. I think if I'm doing oatmeal, I'm sticking to apple cinnamon.
It's kind of I'll do the sweet stuff sometimes too, the blueberries, strawberries, the raspberries, but I would tell people it does sound weird. It sounded weird for me the first time. I did this out of necessity, but just don't knock it till you try it. If you ever have an opportunity to find savory oatmeal, it's not the worst thing in the world.
No, I mean breakfast is a elite, what is that called? Meal. That's what they're called. Meals.
That's a word.
They're elite meal.
Diner breakfast. Nothing better than diner breakfast.
Diners are.
Oh my god.
Especially
hash brown, home fry, bacon on the griddle.
Out here in Astoria, the Greeks, we know a good diner.
Yeah, there's a great diner too near me in Brooklyn. Shout out Tina's. It's an unbelievable diner. It's been around for generations. Greeks, of course.
Yeah. Listen, if it's a good diner, it's run by the Greeks.
We grew up in Jersey. Big diner state.
Oh, awesome. Westfield had some of the best.
Literally, yeah. I had a great diner near me in Columbus too in college, where it was a real hole in the wall. And shout out Nancy's. Shut down during COVID.
R.I.P.
I love them.
R.I.P. Nancy's.
That was our breakfast talk, though.
That was our breakfast talk.
That line by Keith, he gives you one of those a week where you're just like, what did I just hear?
He's incredible. I mean, the stuff that comes out of his mouth sometimes, maybe hold it back every once in a while. I'm not going to say that he's right about everything that he says, but we really are, again, so lucky that we get Gary, who's just so cash money on play-by-play. Keith is just so funny, and he does have so much knowledge that you don't get a lot from other broadcasts he'll tell you things that probably he shouldn't be saying on the air.
And they do the great thing where I'm sure everyone out there does this with their friends, where you just start naming players or people that were famous when you felt like you were in your heyday. They throw out niche celebrities from the 70s, and we're just like, what the frig?
Yeah. Like, who are these people? And then
Like
you got
small little baseball memories. They'll pull out a nugget from a Thursday. Mets Cardinals 1979. Joel Youngblood made a play. We're like, what?
Keith will be like, I remember I sliced the ball down the left field line, digged out 2 and a pass ball then, and I ran to third.
Keith was also being funny in this game, talking about like pitcher speak versus hitter speak. And he was talking about the concept of a glove-side fastball. He's like, I've never gotten that. I've never cared for that term. It's like, what do you mean?
It's so easy.
It's very inquisitive. Like, you're a right-handed pitcher, your glove's on your left hand. That's the outer corner for a right-handed batter.
You got to remember he's a lefty, though.
That's true, too. Yeah, I was right. So I'm thinking in terms of righties.
Special breed for those lefties out there.
Every single time I listen to a game on television, even the radio, shout out Howie and Wayne. Jakey Eisenberg did the broadcast this week, too. He's also very good.
Very good.
As far as a backup radio broadcaster goes, Jake Eisenberg's near the top of that line.
Better than most regular radio broadcasters.
I'd say 85-90%. I don't really listen to other teams' radios that often, but like it's just we have such a blessing as Mets fans that we get these guys giving us baseball on a daily basis. They're friends, they're fans, they're knowledgeable, they're insightful, they're fun, whimsical. They give you everything.
And it's nice because in a game where we do lose, like we did in game 2, it makes it still tolerable to watch because you're like, we're going to get some entertainment value,
It's
no doubt.
enjoyable. Like I honestly didn't turn this game off. I felt like it was over when it became 4-1, but I was like, they got some stuff to talk about.
Yeah, some of the best content from Gary, Keith, and Ron comes when the Mets are losing.
Blowouts.
Yeah, blowouts.
Nothing better than either a win or a lose for the Mets because these guys go just nuts.
It's like hanging out and having a beer with them and just let's just talk about baseball for 2 hours. That's really like what it is, which is awesome.
I want to have a beer with them so bad.
Be fun. Well, with the Mets now,
possible.
Maybe I don't know. Mets, you guys could hook something up for the boys. Get Gary, Keith, and Ron. Maybe one of them on the podcast.
We know Keith mentioned not loving podcasts, but like maybe he'll like us.
Yeah, maybe he'll like us. Who knows? He hasn't come on and met us yet. Once he meets us, we'll be great friends, Keith. Trust me. Guys. Game 3, though. Let's move on to Game 3 because that's the one that we really want to talk about. We needed this. We needed this bad.
Yeah, and weird for such a big game rubber match, 2 teams that are like hotly contested, to be at noon.
Yeah,
on a weekday.
That's when I wake up normally. I had to wake up early. I was up at 10 o'clock today.
Mark had to set the alarm for this one.
Yeah, I did. I was up at 10 to make sure that I would be ready for a noon start, and I was ready. I had my candy that I had as my first meal of the day.
It was breakfast. You missed that one.
Yeah, I had Nerds gummy clusters.
I was going to guess Mike and Ike's.
I just had 2. I had 2.
Oh, okay.
And then I made
Pacing yourself.
And then I made some ramen soup.
That was the ramen soup I saw you eat when I was here?
Yeah.
So like 4 o'clock?
Yeah, that's been the food I've eaten today.
That's insane. Mark does this all the time. We'll be hanging out like at the game. He'll be like, oh, I got to eat something. I'll be like, you hungry? He's like, I haven't eaten today. He'd be like, it's 7. What do you mean?
I just woke up.
It's the YouTubers, man. They're an unhealthy bunch.
We are creatures. We got to see, though, some really good pitching out of Chris Bassitt going up against Charlie Morton, who... He's not bad. He's just not the same Charlie Morton.
He has been the same Charlie Morton for like a month. The Mets actually got to him for the first time in a while. But... got to throw some shine on our boy Bassitt. I'm old enough to remember when Chris Bassitt was bad after that Padres start, which feels like a lifetime ago. But I remember Mets fans were, he had a 5 ERA over a 3-star sample.
He gave up 7 earned runs. What is he doing?
That's it. The sky has fallen. But Bassitt told us that night, and he has stuck to that this will not happen again.
So sick.
Every single start since that Padres blow up, he's completed 6 innings.
He's just been like exactly as advertised.
Just good, just quite good. Not like great. Bassitt's not gonna like shock you. Your jaw's not dropping when you watch Chris Bassitt pitch, but you're gonna be like, that is a good pitcher.
He fills in the role that we had a very similar type-ish pitcher fill in last year, Marcus Stroman, of just being reliable every 5 days, giving us some length, and keeping us at absolute worst in the game.
We mentioned the consecutive 6-inning streak from Bassitt. Did it again this one, of course, or else we wouldn't have brought it up. 6 innings, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks, 5 hits, 1 earned. Craziest thing that Bassitt did that I just love shouting out whenever he does it. Got a whiff with 6 different pitches.
They were showing him going through his signs with Nito behind the plate today. And that he shakes off a lot, but it's not necessarily because like he's like, no, you don't know what I want. It's more like, no, I just throw like so many pitches. Like sometimes
it's hard to pick.
You got to figure it out. You got a 1 in 6 chance, and then depending on locations too, like the possibilities are endless with Chris Bassitt.
And I mentioned last episode that his slider and curveball, he's been trying to use them a little bit more. It seems like did again this one. He's trending up. More sliders, more curveballs. Chris Bassitt is harder to hit,
which is awesome. What's his name? Jeremy Hefner. You're rocking the jersey, of course.
I am.
Just think about some of the sliders in the league and the development that we've seen. Like when DeGrom's healthy, nasty slider, obviously. Edwin Diaz has one of the nastiest sliders in baseball. David Peterson has one of the nastiest sliders in baseball. Whatever Jeremy Hefner does for the slider,
Walker and Bassitt, these sliders this year have become very different pitches.
Yeah, magical. He knows something with that slider grip and how to throw one, and it has made a difference for these pitchers.
I love Jeremy Hefner. He's a guy who I am confident we will get on the show at some point.
Definitely.
I'm gonna like fangirl. Like I'm gonna be starstruck.
He's gonna be the one where we're like, we're sweating.
Jeremy Hefner.
We're nervous. We'll talk
on
to
our show.
Talk to Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso, and we'll be like, oh, what's up, guys?
Dap him up.
Dap him up. Jeremy Hefner would be like,
I can't even.
Call him sir, probably.
Thank him.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
for
you
what?
for-
Just for this.
For the pitching, for everything that's gone on.
I'll talk about pitching all day, of course, but offense was the big story on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
As ESPN called it, a home run barrage against Charlie Morton.
Which is not a sentence that you hear often along with the New York Mets.
No, not at all. But Escobar had one early, put us up ahead, bomb.
Yeah, crushed it.
From the left side. Love seeing that.
Edgardo Esco bomb.
Nice.
Combine the two together.
Double up. Francisco Lindor had the big blow, though. 3-run home run off Morton. 2 strikes, too.
Called it, by the way. You weren't here yet.
You did?
But I was talking to my roommate, Alex, and I was like, just hit a home run here. Do it right now. I need it. Give me a home run. And then Gary, I heard the call. Well, and I popped my head out. Home run. Francisco, let's go.
And then Cano dropped another one that wound up knocking Morton out of this game. Also, this was only the 3rd time in Morton's career he's ever allowed 3 home runs. First time he's done this since 2017.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, May 19th, 2017, though. So shout out Dad's second time. That's his birthday, May 19th. So
Shout out Mr. Schiano.
Double shout out for the parents. Yeah, but got Charlie Morton. Good pitcher. The second time this year we've gotten to him, too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he struggled a little bit. Remember, he struggled at the start.
It was chilly. Then he was good.
Yeah.
That was the Jankowski leadoff game.
That was the Jankowski leadoff game. The doubleheader that we were at, literally, have seen the Braves a little bit this year at times. This was the Lindor game, though, because Lindor really did have a hell of a game. Of course, the 3-run home run, but he made some great plays on D. There was a deep ground ball in the hole that he
Bottom of the 4th, I think 2 men on.
Yeah, just planted and threw an absolute seed. Like, Francisco Lindor has never been praised for his arm strength. That has always been, I would say, like, if you gave him a knock defensively, it'd be that his arm was average.
Totally.
This throw was a seed across the infield. Back foot, throwing it deep in the hole, and he got him by a step and a half. It was a great play.
I also recall 2 weeks in April where Francisco Lindor was kind of struggling with the throws. I think he sailed one to Pete. They were just going high, going low. Wasn't that consistent. Since then, they have been crystal clear.
They've been absolutely great for Francisco. That was a big thing that Mets fans like to get mad about, too. I can throw the ball! And it's like, this dude's fantastic. What are we talking about?
Big-time players make big-time plays in big-time situations. And that's kind of a big thing what this series was between Lindor and Scherzer on Monday. Now they just kind of wrap up the series. Also want to shout out known cleanup hitter Luis Guillorme, helping to break this game open late in the game with an RBI double before an RBI balk. Jesse Chavez, shout out to you, bro. He usually kills us, but that was a good one. That was a good one to get one over on him. Love Guillorme. Him in the 4-hole.
Is hilarious, but also...
And especially with the lineup dropping like 9 a.m. I was like...
I woke up to Luis Guillorme hitting cleanup, which is... It's a great way to wake up. I like it. Luis Guillorme in the 4-hole, and the Mets scored a ton of runs.
Pete Alonso needs protection. I don't want to know anyone else who could do it better.
Yeah, I mean, Pete struck out 3 times in this game, so maybe get him a little more protection.
All right, yeah, we'll keep that going. But
going.
Hey guys, we beat the Braves. We had 15 games against the Braves. Now we have 12, and we got one on them.
Wait, drop the Lindor stat you told me about the switch hitting RBIs.
Oh, this was the crazy Tim Kirchin stat they dropped on the broadcast because this home run sent Lindor to 67 RBIs in the half, which is more than he had all of last year. It's the most for any. It's the most for any shortstop in all of baseball right now. And this was the first time. Get ready for this one, guys. This is nuts. The first time in the history of the National League that a switch hitting shortstop had more than 65 RBIs by the All-Star break.
Unbelievable.
Crazy. First time.
This guy stinks.
Terrible.
He's terrible. Ugh, overpaid. Francisco Lindor, so bad. Where would we be without Francisco Lindor? Like, I know
significantly worse.
I know he hasn't been like MVP level type play statistically. Like, he doesn't have like a 950 OPS, but like the guy is driving in runs and hitting home runs, which are 2 things that we've been begging for Mets players to do.
And he's like 15% better than league average right now in terms of WRC plus and OPS plus. That's basically completely in line with his career averages besides 2018 when he went just crazy ballistic. Second highest barrel rate of his whole career too right now. First time it's ever been above 6% besides that 2018 year when it was all the way up 7%. So not that big of a difference there either. And he's already like almost a 3.5 win player. Like, we're only a few games past the midway point in the season.
Great defense is sick. The dude's on pace for basically 30 and 115.
And like a 6 WAR. It's elite.
Stinks. That's terrible. Oh, God. 30 and 115. Don't want that on my team.
I just feel so bad for all the Mets fans that had to be crowdsourced for Francisco Lindor's contract and are frustrated by how much he makes.
I know. The money that's coming out of our pockets.
If I was paying this contract, wow.
Good thing we're not, because the guy's great. Who cares?
And beat the Braves.
Beat the Braves. That's so big. Everyone was sweating, myself included.
And we were making jokes at the intro of the show, like, we beat them without all these players. We did actually beat them without Jeff McNeil starting Marte.
Two integral parts of this offense.
Two of the top 5 hitters in this lineup.
Two
All-Stars.
Yeah.
Literally. And we only got one roster spot back for them. We played this entire series with a short bench for Starling Marte, who's not in the IL, but wasn't available. It's like, we didn't even beat them at full strength. Jacob DeGrom might...
knocking on everything.
Jacob DeGrom might come back at some point this season. That's the best way I'll put it.
Has our AAA rehab start coming on the day that you guys will be listening to is on Thursday.
Yeah, so
fingers crossed.
prayer circles.
We're,
everybody.
Everyone watch party. It's free on MLB TV, by the way, if you got it.
Amazing. That's pretty cool, honestly. Like, this is the first time the Braves have lost a series besides when they played the Dodgers. So, you play the two teams with 2 best records in the National League, you might lose a series. I know the Nationals are fun. The Marlins were fun. They got a hold of the Giants, the Phillies.
Played the Pirates forever.
Yeah, right. 6 games against
Cubs.
The Pirates. We'll get those. We have those games too, Mets fans. Look at our schedule in September if you guys want to get excited about something. But we didn't even let any of their starters get through the 6th inning.
Sick.
And these are 3 really good pitchers. Max Fried, Spencer Strider, Charlie Morton. These are 3 really good pitchers there. None of them got through the 6th.
Spencer Strider's not. Is he an all-star Spencer Strider? No, right?
He freaking should be.
He should be.
Why? He has an argument to start.
Yeah, how did he not make it if he didn't? But Max Fried is one for sure.
Yeah.
I know that. I mean, like, the Mets took a team that was hot. Like we mentioned coming into the series, they were 29-8 in their previous 37 games or whatever that was, quick math. And the Mets took 2 of 3 from them at home in Atlanta without some of our best players. Of course, they're missing Ozzie Albies too, so you can take that for what it is. But we were able to limit Ronald Acuna's damage. Austin Riley and Matt Olson still did stuff, but they're really, really good players. And that was pretty much it. Like Duvall hit the home run in game 2 when the game was already kind of out of reach-ish. Like, I'm really, really impressed with how the Mets played.
Hard didn't get to their bullpen though. And that's one thing that gives me a little pause. This Braves bullpen's come out of nowhere and become really good. They have tons of lefties in there too, which is a weird element that not many teams have. I think 4 lefties in that pen,
which is that's so
pretty
many.
cool.
And AJ Minter looks like he actually might remember how to pitch again.
Yeah, AJ Minter is quite good. Same with Mets'd, same with McHugh. Evan Lee kind of impressed me.
Yeah,
he had some decent stuff coming out there from the left side. Good bullpen here, but like this Mets team just played clean, team-oriented baseball. Scrappy, long at-bats, clutch hitting, power when we needed to have it. Like, it just worked.
And like I said at the beginning of the episode, Tomas Nido after the game was talking about the Mets mentality inside the clubhouse. It was basically like, yeah, like one, we know the season's not over. We're 20 games above 500 in first place by 2.5 games. We know we're a good team, so it's funny to hear that everyone's so worried. Not that we were, but a lot of people were out in the Twitter world and out in Mets universe. But it's nice to know that these guys really still have that confidence, riding high, feeling good, and they should after going into Atlanta and proving they're the better team.
Absolutely, proving they're the better team. You could really stake your claim on that one right now because we're going to have a 5-game series, a very rare 5-game series against the Braves. August, I believe it's 4th through the 8th or 9th because it's doubleheader, Saturday doubleheader mixed in. That's going to be a marathon. That is going to be intense.
12 more games against the Braves. There's a lot. This, we will not salicata it, like I said at the beginning.
We're having fun now.
We're having fun. Take your 24 hours. Enjoy
6 o'clock, Thursday, July 14th. Focus on the Cubs.
Focus on the Cubs. Got to beat the Cubs because the Cubs
stinking.
They stink. This is a chance to get some games, win some ball games going into the All-Star break, and I really hope they do. Also, speaking of the All-Star break, Pete Alonso, Home Run Derby, confirmed. The Home Run Derby looks like it's going to be absolutely sick, by the way.
Incredible.
The names that have been announced, I think, are Alonso, Soto, Albert Pujols, which is hilarious because he's like 100 years old. I'm still want to see it happen. Julio Rodriguez just got announced, which dark horse pick if it's not going to be Pete. And then there's also Ronald Acuna and Kyle Schwarber. I don't know if there's been any other guys named, but those 6 right there, that's a pretty legendary 6 for a home run derby. This could shape up to be one of the best ones there are.
I love the Home Run Derby, too. The Home Run Derby has been so much fun in recent years, not just because of Pete. Pete also helps a lot.
Definitely.
Since they changed this format and made the timed,
sick.
It's one of the greatest adjustments in the history of sports.
Like the fact that essentially you're chasing somebody.
Yeah.
It's not like chasing with like the 10 outs thing and I can take 50 pitches. You have to be swinging. One of the reasons why I think Pete has been so good at it is, one, the guy can just hit home runs to right center field like it's nothing. He can basically be almost lazy on a swing and hit a home run. And 2, shout out to Dave Joust, no longer with the organization, I don't believe. But dude's a money pitcher. The dude doesn't throw balls, and he'll be pitching to Pete again in this home run derby.
I want them to have a nice, healthy batting practice, streak before we get to the game. We'll probably do more of an all-star preview, home run derby preview on the Sunday episode at the end of the Cubs series. But Cool that Pete's doing it again. I think only one other player has ever three-peated in the home run derby.
Who is it?
Griffey.
Oh, yeah. It's a good player to
Legend.
be in a similar conversation with. Very different athletically.
Yeah, almost no similarities besides the game they play.
Yeah, besides that they're both good at baseball.
Griffey's really cool, slick, suave, fast. Pete is fun and goofy, burly.
Hits home runs.
Yeah, hits
Plays
tanks.
first. A little different.
So different. I would like that'd be a cool photo op though.
Oh, that'd be sick.
I'm sure it's gonna be LA. Everyone's gonna be out there.
It's going to be not us.
No.
We won't be out there.
We won't be out there. Sadly, I kind of would have been like to, but
Would have been cool, but also I'm okay to miss the LA one because
this happened we got in here recently. What is
Yeah.
this, like our 7th episode with the Mets?
something like that. We're just about a month in.
102, episode 102, I believe, was the first Mets one.
So just about a month in working with the Mets here, and I mean LA is a good one to
It would have
miss.
been a tough pull. I would like to spend a couple days in Los Angeles.
I'll never say no to some extra sun.
No, definitely not.
Sun and beaches. Terrible. Hold my arm. I don't want to go. But
twist my arm.
twist my arm.
Hold
There
my
it is.
arm.
Hold my arm. Yeah. Why?
That's okay.
Whatever.
Feels nothing from
We're
that.
like 50 minutes into this episode. I'm gonna get a little crazy with what I'm talking about and losing my mind on some of these sayings.
And we did get through the Brave stuff relatively quickly, and you guys have been begging for some trade talk, so we're gonna give you guys maybe 2 or 3 minutes of it.
Yeah, short.
Short stuff, not a big one yet.
The trade deadlines you enlightened me.
August 2nd.
Yeah, August 2nd.
No juice.
I thought it was July 31st.
No
so
juice.
I think the trade talk also comes down a little bit to with the Mets winning the series, just because I think it at least allows you to think that everything's completely 1,000% okay.
And also, I've been telling everyone on Twitter, trade talk, July. Hit me in July. I just want to start answering questions. But I feel like realistically, the trades don't even get hot until the All-Star break.
After the All-Star break, yeah.
Everyone takes some time off, step away, recalibrate, rest, refresh, think about it a little bit more, what you need, what you want to get. And if you're talking about what the Mets want to get, it seems like they're completely zeroed in on grabbing bats.
And I think that's probably an okay move.
I think it's the right decision.
I really think that's all right because I'm thinking of like some of the acquisitions that they made in 2015. They were big bats. And I'm thinking of guys like Juan Uribe, Kelly Johnson, some dudes that make an impact, help relieve a little bit of the pressure maybe on guys who are currently playing every day, like an Eduardo Escobar. You can now give him a day off because you can have someone fill in at third base. And I know we've got some names here of guys that I think would fit in really nicely in this lineup. That would be good additions.
Yeah, and these aren't the sexiest names in the world. These
No.
are not the names you guys probably really want to hear. It's not the names you expect. But also, this market for bats is a little bit dry.
And also, the market's weird now because like a team like the Orioles, who was going to be one of the premier bats out
and
there,
the Mariners,
they've gotten hot and they're competing for playoff spots. The Orioles are like 2.5 games out of the wild card.
9-game winning streak at the time of this recording.
They've been
one of the most fun teams in baseball.
They've been awesome. So Trey Mancini's not going anywhere probably.
Probably same with Mitch Haniger.
Yeah. So some of the big names on the bat side, but a guy like Jonathan Scope, who hasn't
can
hit
help.
well this year, but I think you were because you threw that name out at me. I think you said he's playing better now.
His last month has been significantly better than the first 2. His chase rate's gone down over the last month, more in line with career averages. He's getting his barrel rate back up. He's hitting for more power, more fly balls. He's a guy who can fill in at first. He can play second, but he's not the most spry anymore. He's getting a little bit older.
Although his OAA at second base
It looks great.
Looks great.
Weird, though. It might be a
further
weird
review.
yeah.
I think it's a little fraudulent at times.
Might be a weird situation. He could also probably in a pinch find a way to play third. Like I'm sure
He's got a strong arm.
There you go. Yeah,
Very
right.
strong
So
arm.
like I think Jonathan Scope, and this again, this type of player we're going to be talking about.
For now.
Yeah, for now. We might get crazy in an episode in a week or two, but he's the kind of guy who can help this team a lot. He'd be a significant upgrade over, like he would be a big help to this bench.
Yeah. Hunter Dozier's another name, a guy who can play a litany of positions.
Super similar. He can play third. He can play first. He can play corner outfield. He hits fine. He's not. You're not breaking down any walls to see Hunter Dozier play the appearance.
I'd also love to see him get out of Kansas City.
Yeah, I think maybe you rejuvenate some of these guys on bad teams. You could see a little run in them. One guy like that, Nelson Cruz from the Washington Nationals. He's not necessarily my first choice, even though he probably has the best offensive ceiling on this list, just because I'd like someone who can play some defense, give this bench some versatility, because we already have a guy in J.D. Davis who might still be here after the trade deadline, who kind of is just the pure DH, a tiny bit third base mixed in. Nelson Cruz will be a pure DH with like a tiny bit of first base mixed in.
Barely.
Probably not us. The Rays did that because they don't care about first base defense, but he's someone who probably has the highest offensive ceiling. Hasn't been great this year, but still can hit. He still found ways, found times, found his moments, but he'd be someone who just absolutely helped the DH spot. one of your favorites, Daniel Vogelbach.
Love Vogelbach.
He's just a hilarious guy to bring into the locker room.
Dude, I would love to see him and Pete just hang out.
Just chill.
Hang out.
The
Just
whole video series on them.
Tommy Hunter, I bet you would be a
Yeah.
good friend with Daniel Vogelbach.
What's the similarities between these guys?
Large, burly men. Burly, I feel is the best way to do it. Daniel Vogelbach's 5'11", by the way.
That's so funny.
He's short and stocky, and he runs like Babe Ruth. Also swings it a little bit like Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
The dude's got a violent lefty swing.
Definitely. Daniel Vogelbach doesn't make the most contact, but when he does, it goes a long way. High walk rate, high K rate's been the book on Vogelbach forever. He's someone who just he'll give you a good at-bat, especially as a lefty.
Yeah, no, he's strong bat. Brandon Drury, you guys remember him from last year?
Met
Dude's
legend.
raking right now. You got to imagine the Reds are going to trade him. He's essentially free, so every single team's probably going to be interested in him, which would maybe be why the Mets don't go after him, because you just don't want to fight over Brandon Drury.
Definitely. And John Heyman, I know, not Mark's favorite guy, but
Sauce boss.
he had his podcast called The Show, not making it up. It's called The Show.
Very creative.
Hilarious. Him and Joel Sherman. They do the episode with big ass gaming headphones too. It's almost like they think they're announcers. I don't know if I should say that, but it's hilarious if you watch the videos because they're also really close to the camera because they're pretty old. But they had Sandy Alderson on their show, and he said that DH, which I haven't heard that name in a while, but
Yeah, Sandy, wow.
he said that DH is the Mets' primary concern, and they don't see very much competition for the guys they're going after.
Okay.
So it seems like the Mets are going to kind of hang out in this second tier of DH because there's so many. If you say you need to fill DH, anyone can fill that role.
Literally. Even if you're a good fielder, you could play DH.
Absolutely. Then you just mix around, kind of like Dozier and Scope. And David Peralta, another name who's going to be available, who I think could be a good fit for this Mets team. So it seems like the Mets aren't trying to get in a bidding war because, as we all know, the Mets' farm system is top-heavy, and it doesn't seem like they seem very willing to trade from the strengths.
It's also worth noting that the Mets have so many picks in the upcoming MLB draft. What is it? I know we have 2 in the first round, obviously, but there's something I want to say 6 or 7 in the first 100.
It's 4 in the top 70 or something.
Yeah, some insane number that's high, and those picks will be available to be traded once they get drafted.
This weekend, right?
Yeah, this weekend. It's going to be on Sunday. You'll be able to move some of those guys. And getting that influx of top picks will make this Mets farm system a lot deeper, and you'll be able to project a lot more of what the Mets could be looking at in the future, as opposed to if you didn't have them and trading a guy maybe like a Ronnie Mauricio. But once we get those picks in, see who the guys have, the Mets become all of a sudden a little bit more flexible in moves they can make.
Absolutely. And a lot of people have been hitting us up about Mets needing bullpen help at the deadline, where I think that it kind of feels that way. And I've said this a lot on this show. It's not really actually borne out in the statistics. The Mets bullpen right now, 10th lowest ERA in all of baseball.
Nice.
And second highest strikeout rate.
2 things we love to hear.
Love that. And we're going to be getting Trevor May back. He's been throwing. Tyler McGill is probably going to come back in a relief role. He has a bullpen on Friday for the first time in a few months. Jacob deGrom, if he does come back, he's going to...
Makes everything longer.
Everything gets better there. So I think there will be some... Mets probably will grab a reliever or 2.
You can just always find a good guy for free.
And I'll get some fun names for you guys whenever we do our big trade deadline primer. I'll find some ridiculous player on the Tigers or the Royals or something out of nowhere. Dylan Coleman's a good one who I like.
Yeah, pulling out all the Royals. Exactly, there it is.
Yeah, but that's... we'll find relief. I don't think relief is anywhere near the top of the Mets wish list. But
No.
You mentioned MLB Draft being Sunday. I totally forgot about that. You're a bit of a big draft guy, definitely bigger than me. Quick, 2 minutes. What do you want the Mets to do with 2 first-round picks?
I want a pitcher, I want a hitter. And if we're talking hitter, I want an outfielder. There's a couple outfielders that I particularly love. This doesn't mean anything in terms of the Mets. We unfortunately have no inside information on this. I would love to be looped in on the draft picks. I'd be sick as a guy who loves the MLB draft. But a guy I particularly like that I don't think they'll take this high, Chase DeLauder out of James Madison. Dude's a really good baseball player. He just got hurt early in the season, so his numbers were a little bit wonky. A name that they've been attached to as well, Brock Porter, who's one of the high school arms, the top high school arm right now, because a guy, Dylan Lesko, who was a consensus top 5 pick before he got Tommy John surgery as a high schooler. He was a guy I'm also interested in. I would like the Mets to take a look at. There's a bunch of really good players out there. I think I saw Drew Gilbert was mocked to the Mets in a different mock draft, who's an outfielder from Tennessee. I want athletic outfielders, and I want young pitchers, because I really do think that the Mets pitching development will end up being one of the better ones in all of baseball. I'd love to see what they can do with a young, bright arm. And we don't have that much outfield depth, I feel like, in the minor league system.
Or just real hitting depth.
Yeah, just in general. Like, Alex Ramirez is our top guy, and I don't know who's next for the outfielders, really. Like, Nick Plummer and Khalil Lee are great.
It's some of the international signees who are still very young in the DSL.
But we're lacking those, 19 to 21-year-olds with, that true what is their ceiling, what is their floor type talent. And I think this draft pool in general does have a lot of outfielders that could fit this. Name like Jace Young has also been floating around. If Cam Collier falls to the Mets, I would love for them to take him. He's sick. this draft pool is really, really top heavy in terms of stars, but I think there's a lot of really, really good players in that middle chunk. And luckily for us Mets fans, we have a lot of picks in that middle chunk.
Yeah, one guy I like a lot too from my very medium amount of research, Justin Crawford, Carl Crawford's kid. A lot of kids in this draft too.
Yes.
Matt Holliday's kid, Andrew Jones's kid, Carl Crawford's kid. Missing any kids?
Daniel Susak is Andrew Susak's kid.
There you go. It's a lot of kids.
Not Andrew Susak does not nearly have the
same panache as those three guys.
Yeah, but Daniel Susak's a name that's been attached to the Mets too as a catcher from Arizona.
Yeah, I like Crawford. Crawford's I think he's 6'2" or 6'3" as a
Big
high
kid.
schooler. Bishop Gorman. He's only 175 pounds, but I think he might fill out, especially seeing his dad's frame. Carl Crawford a little bit more meat than I think a lot of people remember, but I like him. He's not showing that much power yet in games, but I've read, shout out Baseball America, that his batting practices are significantly more lively in his game tape right now. A lot of times with a young guy who hasn't filled out, that is kind of a way to project power. I like him. I do really think the Mets are going to go hither with those first two picks. Maybe a prep bat and then a college bat to go a risky and a safe, and then just like last year, just pepper the pitchers all through there.
Yeah.
Get your overslot pitchers from weird places like Canada, high school, and just throw them in. But get like 2 hitters, 6 pitchers, and then just best available.
And when we do see the picks, of course, we will talk about this on the episode. Maybe it'll even be its own episode. Who knows at this point?
Could do a bonus episode during the break.
MLB Draft special. But we'll dive fully deep
Yeah.
into whatever guys we get, and we'll tell you everything you need to know. But right now, we're just speculating, throwing names out there that we personally like.
Yeah, and we're not experts. Mark's a little better. Mark was credentialed for the MLB Draft Combine last year.
I was there last year, and let me tell you, the guys that I liked have been money. One of them, by the way, was Tommy White, who was one of the premier college baseball hitters last year.
There you go.
A little pat myself on the back there. I've
Little
done a great
draft
job.
Giraffe neck scout.
Yeah, giraffe neck draft.
Giraffe neck draft. That's too many G's.
Too many G. There's one G. There's one G in giraffe neck draft.
The draft and G sounds...
There's a lot of F's.
There's a lot of
is
F's. I
what
think
you need
F's
to
might be
say.
the issue. G and F right next to each other in the alphabet, too.
All right, let's preview the Cubs now.
Yeah.
What do we got with this Cubs series, right? 4 games?
4 games, yeah. And 3-day games. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all 2 o'clock.
Love that.
Yeah, so
Love
good.
that.
So good. Especially heading into the All-Star break, you can relax. Also, it's going to go on Saturday's game right against the Futures game, which is a little disappointing.
Yeah, it sucks that
Real botch.
MLB, botched it. Botched though.
Botchto. But also I wish we could have had a shot to see more of these guys. Francisco Alvarez is going to play in it for the second time in as many years. He's a great prospect. Tons of great prospects across the league. The game's going to be on Peacock.
Vientos is playing too now.
Oh, Vientos is?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see they got added.
Yeah, he got added.
Nice. Very cool. So if you guys have Peacock, maybe hit us up. We'll maybe if we have a link or something, we can help you out with if you don't have Peacock. But a little disappointing that game is going to be going on during the Mets game on Saturday, but I digress. Or is it Sunday?
Sunday. I don't know.
It's either
It's
Saturday
this
or
weekend.
Sunday. It's one of the weekend days, but definitely be going across the Mets game. But pitching matchup for the Cubs series, Thursday evening, we have Carlos Carrasco versus Keegan Thompson. Keegan Thompson's pitching pretty well for the Cubs.
He's been their best pitcher this year.
He has. He's been good. Him, Justin Steele's also been good too. We're missing Steele in this series. Friday afternoon, though.
Circle it.
Friday matinee, Taijuan Walker versus Marcus Stroman.
Which-
A lot of the Mets fans are ready for that one.
And I think Marcus Stroman's been waiting for this game all year long.
And these two are actually still friends.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, people will have their own opinions about Marcus Stroman. To each their own. I think he's still a good guy. I think he's still a good baseball player. I have no animosity towards him. That being said, I will not like to hear him trash talk. I don't want to hear him say anything. I would, you know, it would bring me great joy. Marcus Stroman is silent on Twitter this weekend because that means the Mets are winning.
That would be nice. And then got one circles. Friday, matinee. And then Saturday, another 2:20. Max Scherzer versus Drew Smyly.
Like my chances in that one.
I do like how that sounds. You got to be aware, though. The wind, sometimes those day games are wriggly. The ball flies. Max Scherzer has had some home run issues, so keep an eye on the wind this weekend, too. The Cubs broadcast, actually, they do such a good job every single game of outlining the wind.
Was it John Shambi? I think he is.
Boog?
Yeah, Boog.
Yeah, I think it is him. But they have these great graphics they make to show the different wind vectors to every field.
Ooh.
It's really cool. And it's
Interesting.
very intuitive. I really like how they do it. Watch some Cubs games. I don't even know why. Just
Yeah, why are you watching the Cubs?
fancy baseball.
They do swing the bat well, the Cubs,
They do. My player watching the series is a bat. But last matchup here, Sunday, heading into the break, David Peterson versus Adrian Sampson.
Who?
I think that's Adrian Sampson.
I think it is, too.
It is Adrian Sampson. We got
Adrian Sampson.
3.3 ERA in the year. I guess that's not that bad.
How many innings has he thrown?
Let's see.
I'm going to say under 15.
Under 15? Nah, 27.
Oh, okay.
27, and he
27.
has 22 strikeouts in those innings. So he's not that bad. The Cubs are not like the dumbest franchise on earth.
They swing the bat, like we said.
They do. Player to watch from the Cubs. I'm really starting to love Christopher Morel.
He's so good.
He had that great highlight in like his second or third game where he had a shot to win in the ninth inning, and he was like kind of freaking out. And he looked back to Wilson Contreras, value of having veterans on a ball club. I told him to relax, and he took a breath, and he got a big hit.
Yep. No, Christopher Morel's a good player. Also, fun fact about Christopher Morel, he had the hardest throw from the outfield this year.
Really?
Average velocity, I should say, from the outfield, 98 miles an hour. The dude has a hose.
I wouldn't say it's average. I think it's just velocity at that point.
No, I think it was average on 5 throws.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, 98 miles an hour. So the dude has a hose. Don't run on Christopher Morel.
No, that's sweet.
Ian Happ's also swinging the bat well. He's
an
a guy
all-star.
who's going to probably get traded this deadline.
Yeah, NBC maybe a little bit above what the Mets want to pay.
I think some Mets fans are probably going to be keeping a close eye on Wilson Contreras, despite both of us not thinking he would be a fit on this roster right now.
I think he would be a fit on this roster. I just think it's the concept of acquiring a catcher this deep into a season, having to learn a whole new everything about all these pitchers. It could take away from your hitting prep. And if you get Wilson Contreras and he's not hitting like an all-star, you're going to be like, why'd they get Wilson Contreras?
And he's also a free agent at the end of the year.
Yeah. And we also have a pretty good catcher waiting in the wings who I think should be ready pretty soon.
Yeah, no, another Venezuelan.
Another Venezuelan.
Strong Venezuelan catchers in baseball.
And this Cubs team is kind of fun. They're pesky. They're scrappy. They can hit a little bit. Seiya Suzuki's a lot of fun. He's healthy right now, right?
Yeah, Seiya Suzuki's healthy.
Yeah. So they have a middle of the order. Patrick Wisdom also, if he makes contact, is going a really long way.
But he will strike out 40% of the time.
Yeah, he had a great soundbite against facing Jacob deGrom last year. He's like, it's just not fun. It's like, yeah, it's true.
Cubs are simply a team we have to beat.
Yeah, I would like to win 3 of these games.
I'm going to get greedy. I want to sweep.
Sure. But the team isn't like a pitifully bad. I think they've been especially cold recently because the pitching is not that deep. But they have enough hitters in there. Wow, the Cubs are actually on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-game losing streak at the time of recording with another game against the surging Orioles tonight.
Also worth noting that their bullpen stinks, but
it does stink.
David Robertson, keep an eye out for him.
Yeah, he's a guy the Mets could be after. Just also a guy who knows how to pitch in New York.
Dude's
drop one of those old school sayings on you.
Good cutter.
He came out of nowhere, actually. Stuff has come back after a few years of it being bad, dealing with injuries. The stuff is good. He is real good. It's not like he's really good. I mean, like he's real life good. Like it's not smoke and mirrors good. He's good.
Yeah, David Robertson. Keep an eye out for him this series. Actually, hopefully we don't see him because that means the Mets are winning.
Yeah, right. Don't want to see him once.
Don't let him pitch again until the All-Star break happens.
Give me one more scroll if I can find a fun reliever on the Cubs.
You could definitely. Now. They will have some names because like.
Oh, I don't know if this guy's active and healthy right now, but Scott, I don't know how to pronounce it. Efros,
I think.
Efros, he's got crazy stuff.
Okay.
He's weird. He's a wonky guy.
There's James' weird reliever.
Weird reliever of the episode.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's a perfect way for us to end this episode of the Mets'd podcast. Episode 109. Appreciate you guys listening and watching, whichever way you do it. Make sure you are following us on our social media at Mets'd, YouTube, Twitter. Nope, YouTube's not Mets'd. YouTube is the New York Mets channel.
New York Mets. Don't confuse anybody. Our YouTube videos for this show are on the New York Mets channel.
But you can follow us on social media at Mets'd on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. If you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Odyssey, subscribe, download, put it on auto download, whatever you have to do. Rating, review. It really does help the podcast grow.
Tell your friends. I'm sure they'd like it.
Yeah, if you're a Mets fan.
Yeah, why not?
You would definitely like this podcast.
There's no reason.
Appreciate all the support you guys have been showing us. Make sure you follow James at
James Shiano.
Follow me at Giraffe Neck Mark with a C. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you after the Cubs series. Peace out.
Peace out. See you next time.
Get up, get up, get up.